Honestly, this episode of Starfleet Academy is the worst thing I ever watched in my whole life. Not even telling myself it's the last episode was enough to ease the torture I put myself through, to the point where I was starting wondering if I secretly hated myself or had turned into a masochist. Watching this episode made me wish the worst on people I don't even know and I hope I never have to meet, because to me they represent the absolutely lowest point of the industry. The showrunners, the production team, the writers, and everyone involved in this abomination. Seriously, that phrase thrown at game developers responsible for equivalent disasters, welcome home, put the fries in the bag, is exactly what all of them deserve, because they never should have left that job. That said, let's get started. The episode opens with Ignotaro telling Nala they just punched a hole in the containment wall and have 2 minutes at most to establish contact with the Federation. Time is critical, but first it's worth pointing out that something even the Federation super advanced computers could manage, Ignotaro pulled it off with half a ship and a crew of just 4 cadets plus 1 doctor. Despite the 2 minutes at most warning, Nala stands there chatting with Caleb's mother, who leaps out of the medical chair like a cat avoiding water, even through her injury, which looked fatal just last episode, has now magically, literally magically healed. Okay, in the last few minutes from the previous episode, but you got the idea. Nala reaches the bridge and has a conversation with Lura and Vance, where they outline the plan to thwart Bracca's scheme, and conveniently note that the whole day met lasted long enough for them to say everything they need to say. I mean everything. By the way, from Tig's announcement to the end of their chat, exactly 2 minutes and 42 seconds passed. I repeat, plenty of time for a detailed conversation. In fact, they had so much leeway that in the middle of the crisis, Vance almost apologizes to Caleb's mother, and it is as if that were more important than the disaster they were facing. Every single character in this show, as well as we'll see later, has proven they lack even the bare minimum to be an officer and don't deserve the position they hold. And that's a fact. After that extremely convenient and comfortable strategy meeting, Nala asks Caleb's mother if she knows how to operate a tactical panel, whatever that means. And she responds with a look that says, "Are you serious asking me that? Of course I do. Isn't it obvious?" Because in this show, every single woman is perfect. They know everything, do everything flawlessly, and are superior to both men and machines in absolutely every way. In this series, in this show, women are the pinnacle of evolution, a being that transcends everything that exists, has existed, or will exist. And yeah, you can call me misogynistic and whatever you want, but you know what? That doesn't change the fact that this show is propaganda. Feminist propaganda. The level of arrogance and narcissism from the woman who wrote this script, because 4 out of the 6 writers were women, it's not, I'm not lying about this, these are facts, you can go and check it by yourself, is immeasurable. I say it's hard to believe people like this exist, but after studying a bit of psychology, you realize this kind of person is far more common than it seems in some environments. Let's call it California. They send cadets to another part of the ship because they are about to be boarded. Jaden turns to Caleb and starts talking to him about being a warrior, and I am like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, the entire show you've been a pacifist, strutting around in a skirt and sleeping with male cadets even though your species is on the brink of extinction. How the hell does someone like you dare to talk about being a warrior? The Athena gets bombarded, explosions everywhere, and the crew doesn't have a single wound, bruise, or fracture. Nothing. Actually, Nala's hair is still perfect, not a single strand out of place. Nusbraka and a team of his men beam onto the ship. And of course, Nusbraka beams in sitting down, which I found ridiculous, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, after taking Caleb's mother and Nala's hostage, he orders his ship to destroy the Athena. And I was wondering if the crew was just 4 people. Why didn't he just shoot the doctor and get Reno in the head and capture the rest of the Athena? I mean, since he wanted that ship since episode 1? 2? Alright, I almost forget. Everything has to fit whatever the moronic writers want, because they are so terrible at their jobs, they can't even create a consistent or logical plot. By the way, a hybrid alien villain who grew up as an outlaw in the 32nd century in a universe with planetary federations, dropping references to Lazarus from the Bible? That's bestseller material. That's quality writing, pure gold. And I honestly don't know how these people haven't won the Nobel Prize in Literature yet. Nala gives the doctor some instructions before being taken prisoner, and he pulls out a plan from his jacket for a situation like this. One that's over 1,000 years old. Conveniently, he's been carrying this plan around for a millennium. And the worst part is, it's the dumbest thing ever. They create an almost instantaneous holographic copy of the ship, but the hologram stays in the exact same place as them. So the hologram is a simulation of the ship being destroyed, but since it's in the original location and they beam right there, it means they can now not only pass through an impermeable wall that nothing can exit unless the plot demands it, but they can also do what known as sidestepping, which involves slipping into another dimension and coming back. I insist, bestseller plot. After that, the cadets return to the bridge, and Jet Reno starts spouting so many incoherences that even with subtitles I couldn't understand her. And that's coming from someone who spent time talking with Ukrainians and Arabs in English all at the same time, all at the same table. I swear, I never had as much trouble understanding them as I did trying to figure out what the hell Jet Reno was saying. Caleb, upset at feeling like they were abandoning his mother, makes a comment about it, and Tarima responds by telling him that his mother's life is insignificant compared to the billions who could die. I mean, he just reunited with his mother after 15 years. He saw her for mere minutes. After that, she got shot, saving his friends from the Federation. He thought he'd lose her again, and Tarima tells him that his feelings don't matter, and that the reason for his life up to that point doesn't matter? Really, you can't get any more of a bitch even if you tried. I insist, every single woman involved in this abomination hates men with such ferocity that they put the Spanish Inquisition to shame. And one other thing, who wrote Jet Reno's dialogue? The Riddler? The Riddler? Meanwhile, Nusbraka's ship are advancing somewhere, towing the other half of the Athena tied up and dragged by cables. I mean, this is by far and by eons the most pathetic thing I ever seen in sci-fi. This episode broke me because writing something like this should be illegal. Oh fuck. Back with the crew. Darren's tries to do something and fails, of course, because he's a man. And Jet Reno corrects him, saying she can do it because she has a gift for it. Of course, why not? In this show, every single woman is omnipotent. And by the way, they are in a crisis situation. How the hell do you start asking questions and evaluating like it's a normal class in the middle of an emergency? Plus, she orders Caleb to keep short-range sensors at full capacity. But just moments earlier, he said they didn't have short or long range sensors. Make it make sense. But the cherry on top, she gives everyone orders to do something that benefits the mission. But she orders Genesis to be the captain because obviously the Admiral's daughter had to be validated and recognized despite not having done or achieved anything in 10 episodes. And as a great anecdote, after she sits in the captain's chair, she says, "I need to pee." Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, so funny, so hilarious. This series is so hilarious, so funny that it makes me want to take poison to end my suffering. Anyway, in Nala's trial, it's clear the writers have no clue how mining colonies work in sci-fi. No, they are not like Kuwait or some oil country. Mining colonies are usually founded by larger organizations that send people to, to extract minerals, for example. And the other thing, she's a piece of trash because she tells Nus that the people on his planet died because leadership means making decisions about who lives and who dies. That you can't help everyone and some deserve to die. And then she talks about the Federation's humanitarian aid. I mean, on the first episode, I thought she was the worst, but this is next level. Back into the ship. Sorry, but this whole episode is a really fast ping pong game, a tennis game. Jet Reno and Caleb, right in the middle of the crisis, start talking about feelings, emotions, and estrogen because obviously the world could be falling apart. Everyone dying around them, but talking about feelings and emotions is the main and most important thing ever. Always. Meanwhile, Genesis hasn't even been captain for 5 minutes and she already abandons her post to go console her friend Sam because the doctor is malfunctioning. I mean, with a mentor as Nala, I can believe that she is that selfish. I truly believe it. So, as I said before, no one in this show deserves their position as an officer or is qualified to be one because they are either hairless bastards or narcissistic egocentrics, but no one of them have what it takes for an academy like that or a federation like that. They are in the middle of a damn crisis, and Sam and Genesis start talking about who's the hero, how they feel, their emotions, and seriously, the amount of estrogen, as I said before, in this show is off the charts and make it completely unwatchable. This isn't supposed to be a drama, not a romance, not a rom-com. It's a damn sci-fi TV show, and they talk about how Sam felt more comfortable speaking, I don't know, some weird language, and of course Genesis speak it too. I mean, she doesn't just speak Klingon better than Jaden. She speaks every bloody language in the entire freaking universe as a native level because she's a total Mary Sue. And that's all she has become, a Mary Sue. Like every other female character in this show. And the worst thing is I am recording this and I can understand if someone said, man, you are misogynistic, and yeah, I understand if someone said that. Yeah, I can understand it, but that's far from the truth. But that's a thing, because the problem is, for example, right now, after the women on the ship figure out a way to solve the problem that the entire Federation could resolve. I mean, for how long time they've been working with this Omega thing? Hundreds of years? Thousands of years? And they just came out with a solution. I mean, Jet Reno asked the and this is the thing. This show is so absurd, because Jet Reno asked the computer to run a simulation, decreasing by 1% each time until it succeeds. And I was thinking, it's a computer. It can run multiple processes in parallel. Because I am assuming that by the 32nd century they achieved thousands, if not millions, of parallel processes. Or even, I don't know, so kind of quantum computers or something like that. So the answer they were looking for should be instant. But no, it isn't, because the writers are just thinking, how can I make this longer? Because I have no idea what I am writing. I have no idea what is sci-fi. I know nothing about this. That's the thing, that's the problem. So, the whole scene, it's a complete waste of time and air. And then you have things like Jet Reno making a reference to a Da Vinci's quote, which is already far-fetched from the 32nd century, and Terima knew who said it. In this show, in this series, and this is the thing, that this is why people could think, oh, this guy is misogynistic. No. In this show, every woman is better than a supercomputer, because they can know everything and process everything in seconds. Frank Herbert, the author, the Dune author, should feel ashamed for creating the mentats as a response to the Blutarian Jihad, when the real answer was always woman. And then Terima says she isolated the frequency of Braca's mines to a star system, but they didn't have long-range sensors, yet they tracked the frequency. God, make it make sense, please. Right after, they come up with a plan that makes absolutely no sense, zero sense, at least to me, to fixing the crisis they are in. Terima and Caleb seize the opportunity to flirt, of course, because the interracial relationship has to blossom in the finale. And as expected, he grovels, begging her to forgive him, even though just minutes ago she trampled all over his emotions, his feelings. Another castrated man. Applause for this brave warrior woman who are ending the patriarchy. And to top it out at all of, both of them, in the middle of the total disaster, head to her safe zone and take all the time in the world to talk again about their feelings and emotions. And I swear, I'm so tired. I'm so bloody tired. Because once more, the world can be in the middle of the apocalypse, but feelings. Terima tells Caleb that her empathy skills aren't magic, but they are magic because the writers of this show don't know the difference between a psychic and an empath. The creators of this trash treat both as the same thing. They use Terima like she's, I don't know, Jean Grey or Dr. Charles Xavier. In fact, now that I said it, Tarima feels more like an X-Men character to me than a Star Trek one. So, in order to use her powers, Tarima removes her inhibitor, which conveniently, and unlike the previous one that was connected by some kind of cable to an artery or something, is now adhesive. How the hell doesn't that fall off with any movement or, I don't know, the slightest bump? Alright, right, sorry. Because it's convenient for the plot. Because all this show is, and everything that happens on this show is just convenient for the plot. And to make it worse, she tracks Caleb's emotions about his mother across the universe and then turns them into coordinates. She's able to make feelings into an equation. I'll grant that her powers aren't magic, but they are a fucking patch that the female writers use wherever convenient or to justify or force the plot forward, because otherwise they will have a way to stretch the episode beyond the 60-year-old image at the beginning. And if this is not stupid enough, on his part, Darren responds she found the atrium. How the hell did he know the place they were in was the atrium? I mean, not even C-grade cinema has this level of plot holes or scripting. And one other thing, if the detached part of the Athena, and for detached I mean the whole disc, is capable of doing everything it did, why the hell does it did the rest? And I'll be honest, I rewatched those scenes multiple times and I still don't understand how they crossed the wall of bombs. The signal thing was stupid, but now this? I mean, how exactly did they get to the gas planet, which conveniently was located right near Nus Bracca's position? I don't know how. I'm be honest. I can't understand how they did it. So, back to Nala's trial. It's less a trial and more like couple therapy, because just like every other problem in this show, everything gets solved by talking about emotions and feelings, over and over and over. Seriously, this show has done more damage to female sci-fi writers than any campaign by actual misogynistic. Because after watching this, any rational person seeing a female name among the writers will automatically skip the movie, show, or whatever. This is going to be like what happened and in the 18th or 19th centuries, where women have to publish under male names to be read. After all this planning, Caleb offers to go to Nala's trial to buy time, but since everything works with magic, he appears almost instantly, because once again the plot demands it. In this show, nothing is science. It's all magic and mysterious teleports. In the meanwhile, Sam is trying to adjust the algorithm they invented, because once again, not even the Federation, with all its technology and races, can do what the power of feminism can. She's running the algorithm, but the time it takes doesn't make sense based on this series, based on this show, Science and Tech. I mean, Sun's photonic design gives her inherent quantum processing faster than an Enterprise. In Star Trek, because I did the research, AIs like Doctor solve crises in fraction of seconds. Sam, as an optimal photonic, post-Miyazaki trauma, could be even more agile, adapting the algorithm in real time without pauses. So, it should take her milliseconds to seconds to stabilize the minds. But the writers of this trash are so incompetent they can do anything except force the plot to be as stupid as possible so freaking mentally challenged people can enjoy it. Because someone had to be a bloody retard to be a real sci-fi fan and like this piece of trash. So, in Nala's trial, she asked Caleb questions as part of her plan. And of course, it had to be that Nus Bracca's father was the one who destroyed the colony where he lived, because how could the villain not end up looking ridiculous if he's a man? How could someone with all the resources Nus has at his disposal not figure out the truth after all these years, only to look like a total clown thanks to Nala? How? Now, how else could it possibly go? And on top of that, when he was about to detonate the bombs, he took all the time in the world waiting for Sam to stabilize Omega, because obviously. And then they say, incoming ships. How the hell did the rest of the Federation know where they were, how, and exactly when to arrive? The Federation beams in right there. Caleb's mother suddenly punched Nus and knocked out a tooth, of course. Seriously, I'm so freaking tired of this kind of crap. I'm tired of propaganda, I'm tired of an agenda in sci-fi, I'm sick to death to this garbage. I know it's almost over, but I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it when everyone involved in this show gets fired, can't find work, and sinks into hell, because that's exactly what they deserve, to live in misery for writing an abomination like this. I mean it. I want it. And after watching this 10 episodes, I deserve it. I deserve to enjoy that reality for them. And the cherry on top, Nala punched him and nearly knocked him out. Nala's weight what? 50? 55 kilograms? And Nus is easy double that. And she almost knocked him out? In fact, it's so pathetic that even with the camera cuts, you can see she has zero idea how to throw a punch. She literally just stuck her hand straight out. The actress has clearly never thrown a real punch in her life. And with the reflection straight out of Grey's Anatomy, comments from people who close to me who watched that show, this nightmare of a series called Starfleet Academy is finally over. Honestly, I'm so disgusted that I don't even want to do final reflections. I'll save those for the next episode of ForSense, where with a clearer mind I want to do a complete analysis of the entire series as objectively as possible, and I want to talk about my feelings about this show. I want to be honest about how do I feel about the characters, where do I think they make something good. I was thinking about saying mistakes, but no, this whole abomination is a mistake. So yeah, that's the thing. If you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe and share it. I'll be reading your comments below, and thanks for your time. Until next time, bye bye.